Hey guys, how are you? This is Isaac Hyman here. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining me on my most recent webinar right now, where we're going to be diving into our complete 2023 email and SMS strategy and talking all about how to plan out your entire year's retention strategy, email and SMS retention strategy in literally about 60 minutes, right? So I want you to put your timer on and make sure that you're holding me to it and that we are set to go with our entire 2023 plan right now. Let's jump right in. So let's talk a little bit about what this video will cover in literally about 60 minutes of your time right now, about 50 minutes of your time, maybe about an hour. We're going to cover a little bit about who we are, who we work with, and why we're sharing this 2023 email and SMS strategy with you. I'm going to go into a complete inside look at the 2023 email and SMS plan, strategy, and roadmap of the top 1% that I think you all are here to hear about, how the top 1% are thinking about their email, SMS, and retention strategy this year, and what they're doing about it, right? How are they handling the tactics with it? We're going to go month by month with an email and SMS roadmap with measurable tactics to help you achieve your 2023 goals. I'm going to dive into some recommended vendors, tools, and apps to help you build on your existing strategy. I'm going to share some case studies and some results about what you can expect when you roll out a good comprehensive strategy. That's really the key part, right? It's not just about, I have the whole book and I have the whole plan. It's about also what can I do with it and how does it work and what can I expect to see, right? We're going to talk about that in a second. And then share some key takeaways for implementing the 2023 roadmap for your business as well. Our 2023 email SMS strategy webinar is meant for the following types of brands right now, right? These are kind of our personas, right? A lot of people, a lot of brands come to us and talk to them about, where they are and who they are and what they're struggling with. So I'm going to zero in on the top brands that are out there that I think the webinar is a great fit for. It's for e-commerce brands looking to scale fast in 2023 and grab some market share. Super important nowadays with this recession and inflation topics out there. This is for business owners who pivoted to e-commerce during the pandemic, but haven't quite figured it out yet. We're seeing a lot of that, right? Those who are just kind of literally pivoted, jumped right in, and now it's kind of like shaking out, and you want to make sure that you are super prepared to take the next step. It's for e-commerce shops who are looking to break free from Amazon and create a direct-to-consumer position. Again, another great persona. It's for retailers who want to establish a competitive advantage, but may not be staffed enough. Right. There's a lot of brands out there that just have a great team in place, but sometimes they're a team that doesn't have that overarching strategy. As a director of CRM, as you'll learn in a second, I've been staffed with a lot of team members who are great at what they do, but they also need that overarching strategy in place. So that's a great example. And then it's also for DTC brands who are looking to stand out from an ever-growing list of brands in their space. You'd be surprised. It used to be that there was one or two direct-to-consumer brands out there that, had the whole market, and then everyone started blowing up in the space, right? A great example of that is in the mattress space where you had, I think it was Casper, and then there's a ton. It's like Parachute Home, and there's a ton of brands out there that are all doing the same thing. And then it's for digitally native e-commerce brands who want to ensure customer loyalty in a very fickle marketplace. So this webinar is really meant for you guys, all those type of buyer personas out there. And obviously, you've registered to attend this webinar, and if you stay to the end, I'm giving away my book right here. It's my free Ultimate E-commerce Email SMS Playbook. You see it up there on my top shelf right there. It's a free digital copy. If you'd like, you can just send me an email to isaac@highflyerdigital.com. More than happy to give you a hard copy. I just restocked. We ordered about 500 back in like August, and we went straight through them. Thank God. And then now we just restocked. So glad to send you out a copy if you'd like. You can also buy the Kindle version on Amazon as well. That's easier, especially if you're on holiday break. Take it with you. If you're serious about growing revenue from email and SMS and building better customer relationships, at the end of the day, right, take a break from social media, turn off your cell phones for a bit, ditch the inbox for a while. And I know that's hard for me, because we're in the email channel, but take a little bit of break, right, from it and kind of focus on the strategy, because in 60 minutes, you're going to be able to kind of get a good high level overview about where you can possibly be, and then bring it down to eye level in your mind about how to put it into action. So really take a break away from some of your social media and put on snooze. We want to focus on the core pillars of the secret strategies of the top 1%, right? We really want to give you the secrets that they're using and bring it to your business. A little about me, and I don't like talking about myself too much, at all. I want to kind of set the tone about where I'm coming from, right? I personally was the director of email and CRM at the top 1%. Some of you may have seen if you were at eTail or at Post Funnel, Optimove's event, or speaking at Persado or Bluecore, I was a speaker there, and I've been the director of email CRM for the top brands, the author of the book, sent over 1.2 billion emails annually as of this year, directly attributing about $250 million in revenue. I've managed multi-million-dollar email lists. Thank God I was the award winner for the best email performance at Bluecore Summit. I was able to beat out some of the top brands just because of the strategy I have within my book, right? A guest speaker at quite a few events, and I've worked with hundreds of brands and e-commerce stores out there, so I kind of know where you're coming from. And the most important thing is I've been on your side of the table, right? So if in terms of like where you are right now, whether you're an owner, a marketer, a director, a manager, whatever it may be, wherever your title is, I've been on your side of the table. I've had to hire agencies too. So I know exactly what's out there. I know how to kick the tires. I've had to onboard ESPs, migrate to ESPs, kind of get to know everything about email and SMS and CRM. So I've been on your side of the table. I know exactly what you're going through, and that's why I'm here to help. Let me tell you a little bit about our mission. So you could come again from where we're coming from and why we're sharing this whole strategy and why it's really important to us to get the word out. We want to help your brand compete to win at e-commerce, right? Our mission is to help you guys level the playing field with the top brands and help you guys compete to win in a very crowded marketplace. It is crowded out there, right? We all know that, and we want to help you compete to win. The way you compete to win is we bring the email and SMS strategies of the top 1% to the small business, okay? And that will help you do exactly what they're doing, right? You may not have the budget they have, you may not have the technology they have, but I guarantee you have probably your best asset, which is your customers. And we want to just unlock the true lifetime value of your customers, and that's your best asset. So it all comes down to is knowing the strategy of how to do that. And I think our best feature is that we actually care about the success of your brand, right? No one cares how much we know until you know how much we care. Right? I could go out and spout a whole bunch of numbers and say, we're doing this and that and this and that. The point is that I care, right? We care about the success of the small guy. We want to kind of level that playing field. If you're small and trying to scale, this is the way to do it. This is how you can kind of build a better customer relationship because we want to share that with you, because we don't just want to have the top brands own the entire market. So that's kind of a little bit about our mission right here. I don't know if you guys are a big fan of Simon Sinek, Power of Why, finding your why and why you exist. So we go deeper than just thinking about email, because you need to think email as a channel. Email is just a tool for connecting with customers, right? But the reason we exist, the reason why it's really important to focus on going deeper, because everything we do is centered around building better customer relationships. When you think about it, everything is unlocked when you have a good relationship, right? You're not selling, right? We're building rapport. We're building relationships. We're just doing it digitally and trying to get as one-to-one level as you can digitally. And we're just happen to do that from email. So really, if you put at the root of what you're trying to accomplish, we build better customer relationships, and therefore we can do email, SMS, and going down the line, you have loyalty, rewards, push notifications, in-store, omni-channel, phone calls, direct mail. There's so many ways to build that better customer relationship. All right. How do we implement that mission? How do we implement that existence? We listen, personalize, and connect to customers on a one-to-one level, right? That's how you really maximize the potential, the true lifetime value of every customer on your list. What we do, the best way we do that is we communicate directly with customers on their most intimate channels that they themselves have selected as their method of communication, which is email and SMS. So that's why we exist. How do we do that? We listen and personalize and connect. And we do that through their channel of choice, which is email and SMS. So that's a little bit about deeper, going beyond just sending emails or sending text messages, right? The key part, and this is just a glance at some of our case studies, some of our great people we've worked with, some of the great brands out there. It's not about the list, right? You may have, and again, I've worked with multi-million member email lists, 10, 12 million member email list, and I've worked with 10, 12,000 member email lists. And it's not about the list. It's not about the list size. It's about the relationship you have to the list. So that's a really important differentiator, because you need to say, well, if I have a great relationship with my list, I will unlock the true lifetime value of it. I will unlock that relationship. And it goes hand in hand. You can have a huge email list, and you can have a really tiny email list. You can still unlock the potential of it, right? So that's a really key part to take away. Like, it doesn't matter if you're a huge 9-figure, 10-figure brand, or you're a startup 6, 7, 8-figure brand. You have the same potential at your fingertips. You just need the right strategy to unlock it. Let me go a little bit deeper now into kind of like how the top brands are thinking, right? Now that we know like a little bit about High Flyer Digital and our mission, now I'd like to kind of give you a sneak peek into how they think about their marketing, how they think about their e-commerce setup, how they think about acquiring customers and retaining customers, and then growing the lifetime value, and then getting them to bring their friends in. So most brands, most e-commerce brands, were inundated with the idea of a funnel, right? Most brands are thinking it's a funnel, right? The funnel approach is very clearly right here. It's focused on one-time sale and lead generation, right? The flywheel approach, though, is how the top 1% think, right? They focus on, I want to get a customer, I want to close the deal, convert them. I want to build that lifetime value, then I want to send that type of customer back out into the world, back out to Google, Facebook, TikTok, you name it, and attract more people like them, right? That's the flywheel approach. And it works really well, especially when you revolve everything you do around the customer. So that's how the top 1% think. Problem is that the small guy is always focused on that one-time sale, which is why about, I think 74% of buyers are only one-time buyers, which we'll talk about in a second. So now that we've kind of level set and we said, how are the top 1% thinking? Start thinking about how acquisition, retention are all playing a role in kind of that constant cycle of growth. That's really where you want to be, right? So I want to kind of break apart the funnel approach a little bit and start thinking now in 2023 about the flywheel approach for a change, right? That's going to help you, increase lifetime value, increase revenue from email and SMS, reduce your ad costs a little bit, get it even more perfected. And that's going to help you grow at the end of the day, be more profitable for sure. So the problems we're going to solve here, especially, in general, in terms of email and SMS, is one of the biggest problems is turning one-time buyers into lifetime buyers, right? Look at this graph right here. 74% of customers are one-time buyers. That's a stat from Bluecore, one of my favorite ESPs, by the way. If you guys are ever looking to onboard new ESP, they're great. 74% of customers are one-time buyers, right? Look at that gap. Look at that gap right there. You see it goes from 74% to about 15%. So that's a huge gap. So a lot of brands are sitting on this wealth of customers that haven't bought again. Even worse, 80% of those one-time buyers are gained at a discount. This is McKinsey data, Statista, Harvard Business Review, Ernst & Young. All of this is data. You can look it up. And that's a problem because brands are spending a lot of time and a lot of money on acquisition. And that means that they're getting all these one-time buyers coming in. And that's not great because 80% of your revenue comes from just 20% of your customers, right? If we focus on the maximizing the potential of your customers and zero in on like that 2-time buyer or 3-time buyer, you'll make a lot more money because that's majority of where the revenue is coming from. The goal is, right, you want to turn those one-time buyers that are sitting on your list, waiting to be activated, waiting to be wowed, maybe weren't wowed after the first purchase, and we want to kind of, win them back. We want to get them from 1 to 2 and 2 to 3. And of course, we want to get the non-buyers from 0 to 1. Of course, a little harder, but 1 to 2 is where a major opportunity is. And when you think about it, all those funnels that you're running, they make Google and Facebook rich, right? You're acquiring all these customers right now. You're spending money with Google, you're spending money with Facebook, and then you get them to your site. And then you're spending more money to get them back to your site once they leave. And then even when they do buy, they only stay one time. So the funnel approach just makes Google and Facebook rich, and they don't need your money, right? They're not here to, they'll take your money, but they don't need it, right? You as a small business will need it a little bit more. And the flywheel using email and SMS unlocks the true value of those one-time buyers, right? I think the stat was about 90% of customers haven't spent their true potential. Right. So if I came in and bought an item for, let's say, a memory card, I have more to spend. I could buy electronics. I could buy a camera. I could buy a MacBook. I have the potential there. We just got to unlock it, right? So that's where the flywheel comes in, and start nurturing that customer and growing their value, and then sending them that type of buyer right back out to Facebook and Google and can find you more. So the point is, we want to create a profitable, predictable, and sustainable revenue stream 24/7, 365 from your email and SMS channel, so we can turn one-time buyers into lifetime buyers, right? That's how you win, especially at e-commerce. Let's go a little bit deeper now. And a lot of this also is in my book, and we're just going to kind of zoom through it a little bit because there's a lot of good opportunity we have on the roadmap. I want to jump straight to the roadmap, but this is important also to kind of get good background. Let's talk a little bit about why email and SMS is the most important channel for your e-commerce brand. Number one is about $44, $38 to $44 ROI for every $1 invested. It is the most profitable channel, right? There's no ad spend. You don't have to spend. You spend maybe for your ESP. You spend money maybe on how many emails you send out, right? But overall, that's pretty cheap compared to the ad spend you may be spending on Facebook or Google or other channels. It's an own channel. You have the opportunity to own the relationship, right? Shape it how you need. Get that data in and kind of build that relationship with it, as opposed to a borrowed channel such as social media, where you're kind of leasing space to build your Facebook page, right, or build your following over there. That's all contingent on them. That's you're borrowing space from them. So now you own it using email SMS. It's a customer-centric channel because you can revolve everything you do around the customer, right? Like that flywheel. It's customer-centric. Email and SMS is a unique customer identifier, right? When's the last time you've used, I mean, we could use Facebook to log into a website, things like that, right? Majority of them use Google. What does Google use to pair you up? Your email, right? When you get a receipt, when you go to Walgreens or Starbucks, what do you use to verify who you are? And if you can use your app, you use your email or your phone number, right? It's a unique identifier. So it's not going away anytime soon. That identifies you across the internet. As I mentioned before, the Pareto principle, 80% of your revenue comes from 20% of your customers. Look into your data right now, maybe next week after you're back from break. Look into your data. Where is the majority of your revenue coming from, right? It's going to come from 20% of your customers. I've seen 40% of our revenue for one brand come from just 5% of their customers. That's a major opportunity there, but it's such a small area, right? You want to get everyone to that 5%. But when you know that, you realize, wow, 5% of my market is making all my purchases. That's amazing because, you know, there's so much opportunity to get more of them, but that 5% you want to really nurture and hold on to as much as possible. So when you keep growing and delighting customers, you'll yield more money in the long term. Really important to know that. That's why email and SMS is the most important channel for your e-commerce brand to invest in. Here's the problem though. Most e-com brands fail at it. And here's why customers hate that. Most customers get this vibe that you're constantly selling them, right? People don't like to be sold, but they love to buy. And when you focus on selling, you're not focused on building a relationship, right? That's the problem. Most brands take a batch and blast approach where they kind of send emails out the door, right? We've all seen that, right? Batch and blast. I got time, you know, I have no time in the day. I got to send an email out, batch and blast it out. Or maybe you do some basic segmentation, right? Some basic ones. Probably not scratching the surface yet, right? So that spray and pray approach is like a brute force attack. You know, you're going to buy, just shove it out in your face. That's a terrible approach, right? Customers hate that. It's reflected in your opens and clicks, in your unsub, right? A lot of brands also project their own email experience on results. They say, oh, it doesn't work. It doesn't work for me. It's not the best, you know, email is dead, right? That's projection, right? That's not necessarily true. There's also zero focus on learning or A/B testing. Again, but there's no time in the day left. You don't have time to test, let alone get the email out. A lot of brands don't understand the customer's journey. It's not necessarily linear. You may have done one email talking about one product, a pair of shoes. Customers may go out and buy a skirt or a pair of pants, right? Or a belt. They may not buy that pair of shoes, but it's okay because the customer's journey is not linear, right? It's also just not as sexy as social media or influencers. It's not top of mind, right? Everyone says like, oh, I don't send emails anymore. No one reads them. No one does anything. Ironically, everyone is reading them. It is a fast growing channel, but it's just not top of mind, right? And probably the worst one is that 75% of customers demand personalization. You see right here, 84% of customers say being treated like a person, not a number, is very important to winning their business, right? And if you don't deliver that personalization, they will abandon you. That's what McKinsey says, right? So personalization is super important, but most brands don't do that. They don't have either the time, the resources, expertise, or guidance to get to that personalization level. Terrible, right? Now that we know that it's very important, most brands fail at it. Let's talk about why email and SMS is critical. Why now, right? That's the most important thing to kind of take into account. It's 2023. COVID-19 disrupted traditional buying patterns, right? It's like a snow globe right there. I have my little globe right here. I got a little broken, I think, right? You shake it up. It disrupted traditional buying patterns. Everyone went to so many different vendors, and now they've probably pretty close to selling on which vendors they want to go to, where they want to shop from now on. And there's an opportunity there. Amazon, however, is absorbing a lot of customers. They've also realized that a lot of customers went to Amazon, and they're focused on absorbing them and keeping them and controlling them, right? So the opportunity to keep the customers you gained during COVID is shrinking rapidly now, right? It's 2023 already. So take action now. Paid ads are getting more expensive. The ROI, return on ad spend, is dwindling quite a lot, right? We've seen in our data, iOS changes and Facebook changes and all these kind of areas where we need to get more. The top brands are trying to squeeze, the top mediums are trying to squeeze more dollars out of you, right? The return on ad spend is going to dwindle. It's going to get more expensive overall. On the flip side, remember we said before, and I wish I had the graph up for that, direct-to-consumer brands and apps are coming too, right? You probably get multiple requests for, I have this new app that does pop-ups. I have this new app that does this. I have this new app that does that. I have this new technology, ShopRunner, this, you name it. All of them are coming in, and all of them are taking a little bit of piece of your pie, right? They're taking a little bit of your revenue here, a little bit of revenue here, a little bit of your profits here. And worse, they're owning that connection you had with your customer, right? So they're coming in, and it may look good in the short term, like to give them some opportunity, but in the long term, you lost the relationship with your customer. They expect a lot, and you can't even deliver on it, and now they're loyal to the app, not to you. As well as DTC brands, a lot more coming into your space. Overall, it costs 600% more to acquire than retain, right? That's a major thing, right? The more effort you put into the acquisition, it's going to cost you a lot more. And as we said before, Pareto principle, 80% of your revenue comes from 20% of your customers. Invest in those customers. Acquire too. You got to acquire new customers as well, but set your foundation to, once you acquire them, you're growing them, right? And then they become part of that 20. So customers are up for grabs right now. If you focus on customer retention before the DTC brands or the apps or your rising ad costs hit you, or Amazon steals them, you're going to be in a much better position. But that window of action is closing pretty quickly. So that's why it's critical now, and why the urgency to act is right now. Now I'm just going to go really quickly to, again, now that we know exactly why it's super important now to focus on your email SMS retention strategy in 2023, let's go into our little cheesy named strategy right here, right? And we call it the spam strategy, and I'll tell you why in a second, right? And I know at first glance we're going to be like, oh, spam, oh, terrible, how dare you, right? So it's not good, right? You don't like the name, but it's going to play a key role in you remembering what the key strategy is of the top 1%. And I hammered out each step of the process and be like, yeah, you know what? This actually flows. It's very memorable, right? So the spam strategy stands for 4 key pillars for a high-performing top 1% email and SMS program for your brand. It's very easy to remember. Segmentation, personalization, automation, and multiplication, right? Those are the 4 pillars. You excel in all 4 of those pillars, you have a really strong email program, right? Segmentation, personalization, automation, multiplication. Okay, I'm going to dive into a little bit of that more depth. But I also have this whole separate webinar talking about that exact strategy. And again, it's in my book right there. I like to break it down a little more easier to understand, right? Right person, right message, right time, repeat, right? Right person, right message, right time, repeat. That's what you need to focus on, right? Find the right person, send them the right message, right? The right message personalized to them at the right time in their buying cycle, not necessarily the right time of day. Repeat it and scale it using automation, right? So you find the right person, send the right message at the right time, and you repeat it and scale it for all different brands, different customer cohorts, different segments, different personas, you name it. That's how you create a really solid email program that you can, I wouldn't say autopilot, but you can definitely step away and say, wow, I set my whole foundation in 90 days or 180 days, right? Most brands get the segmentation right. And we all talk about, a lot of brands are talking about segmentation, and that's really great. You get the segmentation right. And I say like, okay, I want to send this email out to a person who bought this type of brand in this window of time and spent this amount of money, like an RFM modeling. Great. You can get the segment really dialed in, but where they fail is personalization, right? If you're not talking to that person on the one-to-one level, then there's kind of no point. You're just going to see the same results that you had before. The personalization takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of algorithms. It takes a lot of creatives, a lot of copy. There's a lot of elements within that personalization. That's why brands don't get that next step. On the flip side, if let's say they get segmentation and personalization right, they find the right person, they've crafted the right message, they fail to automate it, right? And then they're stuck doing this on a day-to-day level, right? So you see each stage has to be a part of this, because we want to find the right person, right message, automate it for the right time, and then scale that for different areas. The goal should be, as you're planning 2023, excel in all 4 pillars, right? If you can excel in all 4 of these pillars, you're probably in the top 5% of all email programs out there. And I've seen billion-dollar brands that have not dialed this in yet. They've dialed in maybe 1 or 2 of these pillars. They haven't dialed in the automation or the multiplication yet. And I get it. There's a lot of stakeholders out there, so it's hard to kind of dial it all in. So that's the spam strategy. And you can see it sounds cheesy, but it actually is really scientific. It's strategic, and will give you a good area to kind of start focusing on. 4 pillars to work on. One thing, as I mentioned before, if you want to learn more about this, you can go and download our Launchpad bundle, our free 330-page book. I'll talk more about that at the end of this. We have a free book, free masterclass coming soon, which will kind of walk through exactly how we kind of craft the strategies within the book. The Launchpad bundle, it's not the holiday one anymore, but it's more the 2023 Launchpad bundle. You can get this. It's free with your webinar sign up, so you'll get it anyway, especially if you're on this right now. And we'll give you all the tools you need: a cheat sheet, growth guide, annual roadmap, right? The roadmap is really important. That's what we're talking about today. Free campaign calendar for yourselves, the top 10 automations guide. We're stacking the deck here. And I'm going to give you access to a recommended vendors list. You can reach out, and I have a coupon codes, not coupon code, but I have a discount or a relationship with them that you can leverage, and drop our brand or our name, and you can start tapping into that. highflyerdigital.com/2023 launchpad. That may still be being built right now, but you'll get this for free anyway as part of the Nurture series. So excited to give you that. Now, let's jump right in to our 2023 email and SMS strategy roadmap. Okay, we're going to dial in and talk about every month plan as we go. Now, you may have questions, you may have comments about what we covered here. I recommend put your questions in the Q&A if you can, if you have any. If not, you can always email me after, and we'll talk more about it. I'm glad to dive in. I think most of the questions will be answered as we go month by month. And again, this is the entire 2023 email and SMS and retention strategy in just 60 minutes. So just think of it as going high level. And as the juices are flowing, write it down and say, oh yeah, I could do this, or I can't do this yet. Let's put it on the roadmap for your own brand. Just kind of map out what you think you can do right now and what you think you could do later. We'll go through it. And again, any questions you have, put in the Q&A. And I have my assistant here helping me with managing the questions, and hopefully we'll get some answers to you. So let's jump right in. Where I start, number one, is you got to sit and ask yourself, where do you want to be next year, right? I personally, for my agency, I've written down all my goals, where I think I could be by the end of the year. I'm stunned. It's a great goal. I have some great opportunities there, but set a goal. Most of the brands I talk to, most of the brands that come in, I ask them, where do you want to be a year from now or 6 months from now? When we start working together, where do you want to go? They're not entirely sure, right? They don't have a number. They don't have the goal. So my feedback to you would be, number one, plan out your 2023 goals, right? Get a piece of paper, write it down, get a board like I have back there, write it, put up, post a note. Here's where I want to be in 2023. Take your 2022 actionable data, not all your data, your actionable data, and the 2023 trends out there, right? There's a lot of different trends out there, but you want to focus on what you think you can accomplish this year, right? This roadmap is great. We're driving in the direction, but if the direction is not useful to you, well, that may not be the road you need to be on, right? So it starts with crafting your goals. Make sure they're SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. Think of it through different lenses, right? If you feel you want to optimize or maximize your website revenue, well, one of the goals you can then break down into a SMART goal will be, what levers can you pull to increase that website revenue, right? If you have maybe business goals that you want to achieve, such as buy online, pick up in store, maybe implement 2-day shipping if you don't have it, 1-day shipping, even 2-hour shipping, some brands, maybe you want to invest in the metaverse, right? The metaverse is out there, right? So maybe you want to dive into that, right? What are your business goals that you want to achieve, right? Write that down, right? Maybe this roadmap will help you achieve one area of that, or accelerate it, right? What are your customer goals? Write that down too. I want to reduce churn. I want to reduce the number of customers that are churning. Well, we have to set up tracking to make sure we know, well, how often are they churning right now, right? Maybe I want to increase repeat purchases. Really important. So write that down. That's going to be a customer goal. Channel goals. Let's zero in on what you want to do with each channel, right? We're talking email and SMS right now. So do I want to improve clicks? Do I want to improve deliverability? Do I want to reduce the ad spend? Do I want to think about conversion rate optimization, right? All those are different channel goals you'd want to write down. And like I said, identify the levers you need to pull to accomplish it, right? If we were to say reduce your churn, well, great. Okay, in order to reduce churn, we would need to implement these 5 automations that will help us reduce churn, and then implement a rewards program to help us, onboard them and help customers be adopted. That's great. That's a lever to pull, and you can pull it and accomplish it. I'll tell you, I used to spend 2 days locked in a room with our entire team, planning out our 2023 goals, not 2023, but 2020 goals, right? Or 2019 goals. And we're going to, it doesn't take too long. It just matters about writing it down, thinking it through, and identifying what can you do month by month. So that's really important to do. Then finally, begin your plan. That is where a lot of brands don't have answers to, and they're kind of thinking, oh, I just want to increase revenue. Easy to increase revenue, right? Especially with email, just send more email, right? But that may not be the end goal. That may not be the best goal, right? We want to send better emails, not more emails. So now that we know, we wrote down our goals, now that we're going to dive into month by month what we're trying to accomplish and what you should be doing every month. And think of it as fluid. This month 1 for some brands may have been done already. You may have been completed this entire month already, knowing where you want to be this whole year. But if we get to month 6, you haven't done that yet. Well, jump out to month 1, right? So you keep it as very fluid. We're just going to give you a good guideline about how we plan out from start to finish. So month 1, map out some sort of projection of your revenue right now, right? Starts with creating a campaign calendar. You can start building out a campaign calendar right away. If you look at, you can find out all your key dates, look at all your data, look at the campaigns that really performed last year, and start putting them on your 2023 calendar and say, you know what, I'm also going to level that up this year. I'm going to maybe do 2 cents or 2 touches of it, or maybe I'm going to test this creative this time, or maybe I'm going to test that. We'll get to the testing roadmap in a second, but map out your entire calendar and you'll be surprised. Your calendar will probably be filled with a lot of great campaigns that maybe before you were winging it, or like, we got to send an email out, but now you're predictable, right? It's a little more predictable. You can project a lot more. You're not stuck with like last minute hustle, last minute, oh my God, revenue's down this week or today, let me fire off an email, right? We want to get that strategy in place. So it starts with campaign planning. Map out your seasonal and evergreen campaigns. The seasonal ones are, let's say, President's Day, Memorial Day, July 4th, Labor Day. Evergreen campaigns are more like every month you do a new arrivals email, every month you do a best sellers email, right? Those are your evergreen campaigns. Map out your promotions and your offers. What are you having during January? What are you having during May? What's tied in with a seasonal campaign? What's something you make up like a Prime Day, right? What does that look like? What is a content newsletter? Something more educational, informative, allows you to build trust. What does that look like? Where can you put that into your calendar? What does your creatives look like? What are your edits and templates that you need to have to make that happen? So for example, if you have a President's Day sale and you planned out one email for it, well, you may want to say, this is going to do really well for us. Let's plan out 3 emails, right? Preview day, going on now, and then last chance. Or maybe you want to plan out 5 sends of it, depending on how well it's doing. So plan that out because that incorporates a lot of creative energy. You want to make sure your process and planning is very clear across the board for all the team members, all the departments you have in place. Most importantly is your merchandising. You want to talk to your merchandisers out there, people who have the inventory, because if you don't have the inventory for a product, you can't exactly do a campaign for it, but you'll be able to predict it out, right? And each month we'll have a set amount of emails that you can maybe start saying, okay, I have this many people on my list. The average open rate is this, the average click rate is that, the average conversion rate is that. Well, I can expect to see this much revenue this month, right? That's a really high level way of approaching it, but that's what we do. We know exactly how to drill down to that. And then finally, come up with your linking strategy where you start saying, where are they going to? Do I need to create a new page? Do I need to start developing a higher converting option for my campaigns? That's really important because no one can buy from an email, right? You need to work in hand with your website to make sure that you convert them. There's a whole separate webinar on that too. It's called our C4 playbook. Talk more about that at a future webinar. So that's month number 1. Plan out your entire campaign calendar, your workflow, and overall strategy in month 1, right? Will it take a month? Depends on your brand, but dedicate that month to perfecting it as much as possible. Month 2 on our 2023 email and SMS strategy roadmap is create a fluid reporting and analytics dashboard. You want to be able to track what's happening, right? If we're operating in a silo as email, we kind of only look at email. If you're operating more as part of a one channel out of multiple channels, well, then you want to see the holistic growth of your company, right? You want to see the holistic growth of how many leads are coming in so you can convert them into sales and customers. And also the acquisition team will probably want to see yours. So the point is you want to create kind of as best as possible a single source of truth. You want to be able to kind of get a good glance at what is our true database look like, how are they engaging with us in terms of email and SMS, what's our list growth, how many have unsubscribed, in terms of CRM, how many have churned, what's our one-time buyers look like, what's our two-time buyers look like. Create that dashboard, and you really want to go beyond just email and SMS metrics. At a glance, we could see the metrics you see overall, right? Open rate, click rate, unsubscribe rate, conversion rate, but you can go even deeper, right? Click to open rate, right? AOV, what's the AOV level from your customers on your list versus your site? A heat map on where they're clicking in the email. So there's a lot of different metrics you can create. Choose the ones that are important to you. You can have a ton of data, and I used to get inundated with dashboards that had a ton of information, but I only looked at like the top eight metrics. So pick the 8 to 10 metrics that matter to you, and they will help you make decisions on an ongoing basis. That's your baseline reporting, right? Get that baseline. Sign up sources is another great area to report, right? Where are my customers best converting? Are they coming from Facebook and converting better? Are they coming from Google and converting at a high rate? Are they coming from affiliates, referrals? Are they coming from influencers? Where are the sign up sources you're getting? And whatever's working really well, double down on them, invest, test. Why is it working? What can we do to improve the ones that aren't working well, right? That requires a report. Customer migration tracking, which I'm going to talk about in month 4 on our CRM, maybe month 3. How your customers are migrating, right? We saw on the graph before, 0 buyers, 1-time buyers, 2-time, 3-time, right? What does that look like? And how fast are they moving across? And how does it look month by month, week by week? Maybe not week by week, it's a little too small, but maybe month by month. How are your customers migrating from one stage to the next? That's really important to track. Segment tracking. How are your clickers doing? How are your openers doing? Is the clickers going up? Are the openers going down, right? Openers going up, but also not just opening. Are they also clicking, right? Track the segments on a granular level that allows you to say, well, the people who are opening emails is shrinking down because they're clicking more, right? So that's going up. And that's perfect. That's great to see. More clicks equals more relationships. And every relationship starts with a click, and you want them to click in and convert. And that's what you want to see, kind of, things moving up and down. How many new subscribers are coming in and opening or clicking our emails? Really important to have that data in place. Track your growth of your automations, also a major report to have. How are those doing? It may not make sense to look at it on a week-to-week basis, but definitely bi-weekly or monthly. Make sure that nothing's broken. If you see something broken, well, you got to fix it right away. So a report will help you track what was the moving average, and adapt to that. And then maybe pair it in with Google Analytics. There's a lot of good analytics tools out there. I've heard good things about Triple Whale and other vendors out there. I personally am not necessarily a super analytical person. I let that to my team to handle, but you need to pair it in with kind of, like I said, the holistic view of the whole e-commerce store, right? If a good example is that if email is attributing more revenue month after month after month, well, that means that some other channels may be going down or getting less credit. And that's important to know. So what can we do about that, right? From the Google side or from the Facebook side? That's probably a good thing because it means more profits for you. But we need to have that good view overall. So create a fluid reporting and analytics dashboard that will really help your business plan for the future month by month. Month number 3 on our 2023 email and SMS strategy roadmap should be focused on establishing CRM goals, right? So we talked about your campaign calendar. We talked about getting a dashboard up and running. Now we're going to focus on kind of beyond email and SMS as you may have typically thought about it, and now thinking more along CRM, right? Make retention a high priority for your business right now. A lot of brands kind of jump right over this and they say, oh, I need to make some money, right? I need to make some revenue this week. Got to pay my bills. I don't blame you. But you still should measure how your customers are going step by step, right? Create life cycle stages, right? I used to create life cycle stages out for our customer base for multiple brands, and we broke it up by stages. And some of the smartest way I saw it being done was break it up by new. Who's a new buyer? Who's an active buyer? That would be like a 2-time or 3-time buyer. You can go by 2 or 3-time. Klaviyo does it well. You can easily track that, but build a segment there so you can track it. Then who's churning? Right? Who churned? And churn would be like who has fallen off their typical cadence of buying. Good example is that if I buy groceries every week from a store, and every week, like clockwork, for the last 52 weeks, then if I didn't buy the week 53, okay. If I didn't buy week 54, okay, I'm at risk of churning, right? Or I may have churned. Depends on how your data is set up and how you view your customers based on your past data. Remember, go back to your 2022 data. You need to look about who's at risk of churning and leaving your brand. Okay, this is really important for subscription businesses that kind of look at their customers and say, like, they should be buying every 3 weeks, or they should be buying every 4 months and replenishing all the time. And if they're not, well, that's a missed opportunity. So you need to make sure they don't churn. So track it, right? Track your churn. Track people who are at risk of churn. If they didn't buy or they're getting close to churning, right? Send them a message, send an email. We miss you, welcome back, or can we help, right? Can we help you place your order? Track your VIP segment. Who is your top tier customers? And are they still active? Are they still on your list? Are they still clicking and engaging with your messages? Track dormant, those who have totally fallen off the map, right? And then maybe you also want to track your omni-channel ones, people who are in store or out of store if you have a brick and mortar location. Buyer segmentation, we just talked about. 1-time, 2-time buyers, non-buyers. Set up your segments to measure it and just get an idea about where it is. And tag them. Know that you've tagged the customer, that you know that they're a 1-time buyer, and so we need to kind of treat them a little differently. When you tag someone, you can automatically create an automation that does something really cool, right? Remember, spam strategy, segmentation, personalization, automation. You want to be able to automate this process as well. And you can also create a cross-channel strategy, such as like, we have all these dormant buyers out there that are gone. I'm just not going to win them back. 80-20 rule, right? I could spend a ton of energy on the dormant ones, but if they're gone, they're gone. Well, go talk to the Google guys, go talk to the Facebook people and say, hey, I need these guys back. Can you run a Facebook ad to them? Because I can't do anything with email. I can't do anything with SMS. They're unsubscribed. They don't care anymore. Maybe there's something you guys can do. That's the flywheel. Use that to kind of try a different approach than you typically would have done using email and SMS. That's a cross-channel strategy. And then once again, invest in your customer-centric automations, right? Kind of zero in on how do we make sure that these customers are not churning, that they're constantly growing in their value, that you see at the bottom here that they're one-time buyers converted two-time buyers, and 2 times to 3, and 3 to 4, and 4 to 5, and on and on and on, and making sure that your automations are set to achieve that goal. But they can't achieve anything unless you set the goals. Look at your historical data. What does that tell you? Look at the baseline. What is the optimal for your industry or your niche? And what is optimal for you? Where do you want to be, right? So having those goals, really important. Set your whole month dedicated to those goals. By Q4, right, holiday season, oh man, you'll be in a really good position. Trust me, I've seen it, and I'll show you the data on that. Month 4, let's talk a little bit about this. Set up your A/B testing schedule for Q2 and Q3, right? Month 4, you're kind of in Q2. So you need to kind of create your A/B testing schedule, right? Set the goal of committing to test, learn, and refine. Get buy-in from your stakeholders. There may be other team members involved, your creative department, your copywriter, your email execution manager, your automation person. Get the buy-in from them, but by having a roadmap, by knowing here's what I want to test, here's why I want to test it, here's what the testing looks like, right? You can do a ton of testing. I'm not going to go through every single part here, but creative testing, right? Postcard ones versus product ones, long form copy versus short form copy, subject line testing we all know about, send time optimization, when do they gain the email here, segment testing, what does each segment do for my business, RFM modeling, right? Recency, frequency, monetary type of segments, which again is a little bit deeper, but test out different segments and make sure you commit to it, right? That's it. Or test out a third-party tool that you said, well, you know what, I want to see if they're doing anything, pop-ups, ChatGPT, right? That's could be a good place to test, right? All these little things that you hear about, set it up on the testing schedule and commit to it. Don't disregard it. Don't try to, shorten the testing timeframe. Give it a good test. Run it out through 8 campaigns, run it out through 4 campaigns, 10 campaigns. Commit to the test and see it through. And once you see it through, you change the way you were used to be doing things. So that's the A/B testing roadmap. That's all on month 4. Glad to send you the roadmap. It's I think it's part of that bundle, but if not, you can always email me at isaac@highflyerdigital.com. I'm glad to send you that. A great example of testing is I use this case study a lot. Here's one example where we did a static version of an email, right? And this is just one example. I've done this over multiple brands. We used to do this type of one-day sale, 40% off. You could do a sale for anyone, right? We all had one creative. And we mailed it to about 617,000 people. It earned about $109,000 in revenue. Pretty respectable, right? Pretty solid. Then what we did is using the spam strategy, we tested it out and we said, you know what? I want to mail out to these personalized segments, right? Segmentation and personalization. So we personalized everything from the creative to the link, to the subject line, to the preview text, to the products within. All of that was personalized to certain buyers, right? A Canon buyer, a Nikon buyer, an Apple buyer. We ended up finding those segments, if you dedupe them, it was actually 50% less. When we sent the email, a little panic mode because it was less people, right? But it earned 70% more revenue because of segmentation and personalization. You can't have one without the other, right? Like love and marriage. You can't, that's kind of where it comes into play. You got to have both. So we sent 50% fewer emails and we earned $190,000 in more revenue than we had before. That was a great example of A/B testing. So even by testing, you'll probably improve your business. Definitely improve your channel. Let's go deeper. Month 5. Month 5 on our email and SMS strategy roadmap is implement new automations or optimize your existing flows, right? Goal number 1, scope out your top 10 automations, your top 10 dream automations, right? Scope it out now, at least in month 5, or even in month 1. If you have time or you have a big team, scope it out. What are your dream automations? Why? Because you may need help from your data team. You may need help from your website team. You may need help from other vendors or see if your ESP can handle it. And there's a lot of moving parts sometimes, right? But goal number 2 is also to optimize your out-of-the-box flows. We all get the flows straight from the brands. If you're on Klaviyo, for example, you get all these out-of-the-box flows. Or if you're on Bluecore, if you're on Sailthrough, or Celogen or Responsis, and I've worked with all of them, they give you the flows out of the box, right? That's nice, but optimizing it for yourself will do a lot better. And I don't just mean changing your subject line or changing your preview text or changing your template. I mean optimizing it, looking into it and saying, do I want this recommendation algorithm? Do I want this creative? Do I want this style? Right? Optimize those out of the box flows. You'll see a lift. Use your data from Q1 to get buy-in, right? Remember, in Q1, you set up your reporting, right? Now you can see, okay, our automations are this. They probably should be here. They're here right now. I want to get here. Okay. So now you can go over to your team, go over to your stakeholders, go over to your agency and say, hey, here's the data. I want you to help me achieve this goal. Here's how we're going to do it. Right. So use that data to inform your decisions. Right. We all have opinions. I have an opinion. You have an opinion. Data is the tiebreaker. Right. The data will tell you everything. A great automation to turn on if you haven't done it is category browse. Think of it as like an expanded browse abandon. Right. Most ESPs will put on a browse abandon and say, do 2 emails. I do category browse, sometimes 8 to 10, right? Depending on the brand. All but browsing behavior and what they're doing, because there's no need to distract them, telling them about another sale when they're telling you, I'm in the aisle of this, right? Or I'm in the mood of this, right? So no need to do that. But category browse is a great automation. We'll talk more about that on our top 10 automations guide. Transactional emails is a great area to optimize. Low-hanging fruit there always gets open and clicked. Account-based emails are great too, where you have, hey, you create an account or you start an account for reviews or loyalty or rewards, whatever it may be. All that is there. And then order, shipping, delivery, confirmation, all in that transactional. And then post-purchase hourglass is a great one too. You want to focus on your post-purchase series right there. Month 6 is a great place to kick the tires on third-party tools, apps, and vendors, right? There's a lot of technology in there. You want to find the tools that add incremental value to your bottom line. Put together a solid testing pilot for yourself so you know exactly what's happening with them. What are they promising to deliver? Where's the incrementality behind it? We're not here to just kind of add in new tech. You want to enhance your existing tech, right? Many times you want to avoid shiny new object syndrome. Many times only about, I think 10% of a technology we have is ever fully adopted, right? So we all tend to jump to the next new technology and say, this is going to be great for us. A great example is like, I use Klaviyo a lot because a lot of our brands are there, but Klaviyo uses SMS, right? It has SMS. Well, but a lot of brands jump to PostScript or Attentive, and those are great tools. But try it out first in Klaviyo. If you have the tool, right, you're already integrated. Why not try it out? So test it out, see what that does. There's a lot of tech you can have, search and social media, tech apps to help build lookalike audiences, SMS and push. There's a ton of great tools available. Lightbox is a great place to run for advanced exit intent. And then identity resolution, finding more people who are visiting your site that maybe you haven't gotten onto your email list. That's another great opportunity for you. I'm going to give you now a couple of the customer retention vendors I love in 2023, and I'll just quickly go through it. Hopefully trying to stick to time here. The vendors I've tried and loved are some of the following, right? SMS for I love Attentive. They're great. They do some really great stuff. Really a great tool and great people to work with. I love retention.com for identity resolution, where you can help they used to be called get emails, right? And they used to be able to find emails off whoever comes to your site. You may be able to identify or capture maybe 5% of them. They're able to identify even more who you don't capture and then feed it into Klaviyo. Totally opted in, legally opted in. So I love them for identity resolution. Lightboxes, I use Amped a lot. They have some great pop-up options for you to kind of try out. And I think they'll do a free trial for you. Maybe you can ask me and I'll make the introduction. Lightboxes are great opportunity there. Triggered emails. I love Bluecore. It's a little expensive for a smaller brand, but if you have the capacity to do it, it's a great tool for triggering emails. They do a fantastic job, and they charge per click, not even per email recipient or per list size, per click. Okay. So that could fluctuate, but it's a great tool because the more clicks, the higher chance of conversion. Fondue is a great one because they're getting rid of coupon codes, right? If you're a brand that relies on coupon codes a lot, Fondue says, you know what, ditch the coupon code, go for the cash back. And they've seen success with it. And I've seen success with a couple brands that offer cash back and not have to kind of like shoot their profits with a discount code right away. So that's a really cool app. And then if you're into kinetic email, which I believe is a term, kinetic email is kind of like where your inbox becomes kind of alive and the banners can be swapped out in real time. So if a deal expires, I can automatically in my ESP tap the button, switch out the banner, and in the customer inbox, it switches out. Really fascinating. Kinetic email, click dynamic. And then AI, right? We all talk about AI. I love Jarvis. I use Jarvis to write a ton of things. Probably about 70% of our writing is powered through Jarvis. And then maybe ChatGPT is the future. I don't know, but AI and Jarvis will save you a lot of time there. I found some great success. So that's kind of our customer retention vendors we love in 2023. Definitely feel free to email me and I'll glad to share some information. Okay, let's jump right back in. Month 7. Let's try and get through this a little quicker. Month 7, we're going to start Q3, right? This is where we dive into our product-based triggers and product-centric flows, right? Our goal is better product personalization. We want to identify the product data. We want to keep it flowing. We want to have as much data, much product data as we can so we can send better personalized emails, right? This is part of that multiplication phase where you've automated it, but now you're multiplying it for different product lines, different customers, right? So target high intent, not just opt-in intent. A lot of times, let's say we have a price drop or back in stock, right? Great example of that. You send a back in stock email and most brands kind of say like, oh, they've opted in to get a back in stock email. Well, no, if they've looked at an Apple AirPods and it wasn't in stock, they're interested in it. So send it to them, right? That's a great opportunity. So back in stock is a great email to run out to people who opt in for an alert, but also people who haven't opted in and have looked at the product most recently. Low in stock is a great one to kind of once you know you've hit a certain kind of floor of how many products are left. Low in stock triggers out to people who looked at the item and said, guess what? Low in stock, better buy it now. Replenishment is perfect for brands that are certainly on subscription models. New arrivals is always a great one to kind of automate if you can. If not, you send it out once or twice a month at the beginning of the month. New reviews, a new review came in, trigger it out, especially for a really high AOV product, such as, I don't know, great example I'm used to do with electronics. So if you had a really great electronics or a bike, and there was a new review that came in that you wanted some of the people who looked at the item in the last 5 days to know about, trigger a new reviews email. All that are great. So really zero in on the product-based triggers and product-centric flows in month 7. Okay, that's a great time to do it because you have the data already and you set a good foundation by now. Month 8 is where we dive into predictive and AI segmentation of your customer file, right? The goal here is to advance your segmentation to 2.0, right? We've done a lot of segmentation before, right? We've zeroed in on that 80-20, but let's go even deeper. Let's go as deep and granular as you possibly can. And you want to test out the personalization to these segments as well. Some of the examples of that are most likely to unsubscribe, right? If they're most likely to unsubscribe and the algorithm tells you they are, well, test it, see. If they are and it works, well, then suppress that one from every send. If they are most likely to unsubscribe, you don't need to mail them, right? They're going to unsubscribe. Why let them? Look at the people who are most likely to purchase. If they have a high propensity to purchase, right? Well, then you want to trigger a really personalized email to them or any email. Figure it out. You have to want to test it, see what works better for your brand. Most likely to click are people who are obviously very clearly engaged and ready to engage with your email, right? A good example of that is if you have a dormant customer list and for some reason the algorithm tells us that, hey, they've been visiting our site, so there's a good chance they'll click an email. Well, send them an email, see if they click, get them back into that engaged segment. Who's most likely to churn? Again, if a customer is about, at risk of churning, that's a great one to kind of set up your automation, set the foundation, say, let's see if this algorithm is telling us the truth and it's working for my brand. Try it out, test it out. It's all there. It's all, especially if you're in Klaviyo, that's a great option. If you're not in Klaviyo and you're in a bigger platform, you definitely have these tools capable, this capabilities. Predicted customer lifetime value is another one where you want to see. Remember we said before that 90% of customers don't even spend their full potential, right? So if there's a customer who hasn't bought in a while and based on the product they bought that they have a high potential, nurture them, keep them close, don't batch and blast them, right? Unlock that value over time. And the best way to do that using the predictive and AI segmentation. And then finally, there's RFM modeling, which I talked a little bit about before, which is recency, frequency, monetary. You can go deeper into those type of metrics. So for example, if I bought a $10 item 2 days ago, $10 item 2 days ago, and I do that every week, well, that could be a different kind of customer than someone who buys a $1,000 item twice a year and, of, I don't know, some product, right? So see what that means to your business, right? Break that out a little bit more, but use the predictive and AI segmentation you have to start making the case for it. That's month 8. Month 9, it's a little bit more, where we think about beyond just the email and SMS channel. This is where the growth engine comes in, where we can focus on a reactivation and re-engagement strategy. Similar to what we talked about before, focus your efforts on maximizing list potential, right? There's no ego here. The growth engine is meant to be, and I'll show you a screenshot of it. The growth engine is meant to be an area where every channel is working together towards one goal, such as getting new one-time buyers or new buyers, whatever it may be, right? So you got to work with all these other channels in there to kind of create that flywheel approach, right? That's really where it comes into play. And the best part is that if you can go send out your top customers, your VIP customers, and send them out into the universe, and have Google and Facebook bring people just like them into your universe, that you need the Facebook ads and Google ads to do that. And you can acquire better customers from there on and convert them into big fans. So there's no ego here. You got to work with other channels there. Really important, because email and SMS tends to operate in their silo, and we want to break down that silo and be a part of an overall 360-degree e-commerce strategy, right? I'm going to show you the growth engine in a second. The goal of this is a journey building, right? Kind of map out your journeys you want. So if you acquire a new customer, and they buy a certain product, where do you want them to go next, right? Map out that journey. I'm not saying build it yet, but map it out. If the customer has unsubscribed or they bought a product and you want to re-engage them or reactivate them, all that needs a mapped out strategy, right? And that's where your growth engine comes in. Think about your landing pages. If a customer comes in and is only signing up to their pop-up, maybe creating a separate independent landing page will help convert more email subscribers. I've changed pop-ups quarterly for some brands because the pop-up eventually has diminishing returns. Change your pop-up out quarterly so you can convert more email subscribers. If they still see the same pop-up every year, well, that's a missed opportunity, because it's diminishing returns right there. Maybe better landing pages for your Google ads or your Facebook ads would help convert them more. Affiliate relationships. Maybe there's an affiliate out there that can give you email addresses and you have a relationship with there. So that's really important too to dive into. Use month 9 to dive into it in more depth. And then finally is influencers. Kind of use them to get signups from your list. Again, an own channel, not a borrowed channel. You can use them to connect with you on Instagram or TikTok, you name it, but you don't own that data yet. Get it to be owned, and that will help you re-engage, reactivate the people that were on social and now they're part of your list. Quick glance at how a kind of growth engine works is like you take your offer and you send it out into the universe with Google ads, Facebook ads, right, paid search, and you make sure that they're all attracted to get that offer, such as 10% off or 20% off, you name it. And the whole point of that is you get email addresses onto your database, and then you nurture them to convert into customers. So that's a little bit glance of the high fly growth engine. It's a little bit of a deeper project, a little outside the scope, but I wanted to show you exactly how you work with other channels and how they all seamlessly connected into one goal, which is acquire new customers by having them claim the offer. We're almost at the tail end. Let's dive into the month 10. Now is when we're starting Q4, and I'm going to go through this quickly because we just ended Q4, right? So this may not be a top of mind anymore, but month 10 is when you start planning out your Q4 and begin your Q4 calendar and holiday planning. The top 1% plan Q4 in June, right? They plan in June. And why? Because of merchandising, right? They need to know which products they're ordering, how are they getting there in time, where are they stocked, what are the trends telling them about what to order. So map out. You may not be able to plan in June, but map out your entire Q4 in advance, at least in October. Know exactly what you're sending, when you're sending. Promotional planning is important now. Talk to your merchandising team. Plan your holiday calendar and your BFCM weekend plan. Let your ESP know what you're planning, because there are times they may be like, okay, here's our deadlines, right? You want to do this magical stuff. Here's our cutoff date to kind of implement new technologies or help us help you, right? So let them know about your plan in advance. I won't tell you my horror story about an ESP on Black Friday or Cyber Monday. I have a horror story that I could share on a different day, but map that out in advance. Get your holiday playbook ready for your C4, meaning context, creatives, clicks, and conversion. That's a whole separate webinar where I talk about the design strategy behind the top 1%. So create a playbook for your design and creatives. And then, like I said, do a tech review and audit where you want to examine, is my technology set up to excel during the holidays, right? Is all the technologies I tested back on month 6, are they set to go kill it, right? Are they good to go? Have we tested? Are they not good to go? Do we need to get rid of them, right? That's where you've done it already month 6. You've kicked the tires. Now you know, okay, we're gonna bring our all-stars to the game, and we're gonna ramp that up. And then again, as I said before, talk to your merchandising team. Make sure you have inventory for the campaigns you're planning, just like you did back in January when you planned out your campaign calendar. Make sure you know all the key dates, inventories, work backwards from fulfillment. Know you can fulfill the order in time for Christmas, in time for the holidays, in time for the holiday season, and you're not going to be stuck with a campaign that's not going to be fulfilled. So that's month 10. Month 11, pretty clear. Go live with your holiday launch and Black Friday Cyber Monday weekend plan. Invest all your energy into making this a great month, not a great 5 days, right? Not the great 5 BFCM weekend. You want to focus on winning sales early in the month, so you don't only have to rely on Black Friday Cyber Monday. If you had a major goal for the holidays, it's to get your holiday buyers to buy 2 times. Remember, 74% of buyers are one-time buyers. Majority of those one-time buyers came in during the holidays. So if you can get them to buy 2 times during the holidays when they're spending money, you are solid for the rest of the year, right? Lifetime value goes up, revenue goes up, orders go up, customers remain loyal, and you got two for one, right? So get holiday buyers to buy 2 times. It could be at the beginning of November. They could buy a gift card, anything. Just get them to buy twice, right? Like I said before, work backwards from fulfillment. You want to make sure that you can fulfill on the orders that were completed. And then if you can't, well, you have to come up with a plan to compensate them or get it back to them. Optimize your holiday templates, right? Create a nice, design, creative aesthetic. Here's what we're going to be doing. Here's our template. Here's what the recommendation algorithm. Here's our dynamic banners in there. Here's what we'll be sending today, tomorrow, last chance, countdown timers, all these cool templates, all these cool options. Optimize those for the Black Friday Cyber Monday weekend. Dynamic everything. Put dynamic on everything. Obviously, I said Black Friday Cyber Monday weekend plan and holiday buyers from last year. You want to zero in on who has bought last year during the holidays, that you can start kind of winning back, because maybe they'll only buy during the holiday season. They only gift once a year. Friends, family, that could be it. So zero in on that segment too. That's a good time to plan out in month 11. And continue to reactivate your dormant buyers. Month 12 on our 2024, really it's the 2023 email SMS strategy roadmap. Month 12, we plan out our 2024 plan, right? And now we have a great foundation for what to build on, right? You look at all your key KPIs over last year, go beyond revenue, do your annual business review, look at your email and SMS audit, take an audit about where you were, where the room for opportunity is, and where you're going to go from now, just like you're doing right now, right? Take a state of the customer report. You have all your dashboards ready by now. You're set, right? Now your 2-day planning or 3-day planning workshop is now down to 1 day or down to 5 hours, right? Know exactly where you want to optimize, where the opportunity is. Set out your next 12-month roadmap like you're doing right now. Get your tech and integrations roadmap like you're doing right now. And get a state of the business from the ownership. If you are the owner, well, then you know exactly where you want to go, right? We want to know which way the car is driving, what's our destination. Get a state of the business report from the ownership. Where do you want to go this year? So that's month 12, and kind of that's your whole roadmap, right? We starting with basic campaign planning. We went over to reporting. We went over to automations. We went over to technology. We went to talk about the CRM goals, right? We talked about reactivation of your list. We talked about holiday planning, Q4 planning. And the key part is that if you set the foundation at the very beginning of the year, by the time Q4 comes around, you're clicking on all cylinders, right? Let me show you an example of that, right? Here's the power of setting your email and SMS foundation right here. Here's a great case study. They doubled their holiday revenue by setting their foundation, right? This brand right here, you can see last year, there's actually 2 years ago, in 2020, a pandemic year, which everyone was buying online, they were at about $46,000 in revenue for their quarter, for the November-December holiday season. They jumped up the year after 134%, right? 102% higher orders, right? Better emails, more conversions, better sales, right? They more than doubled it. And that's the key part. And guess what? Even organic search was down. Other channels were down. Email lifted it up because the customers were buying. They were unlocking the true value, true lifetime value of every customer on the list. Really important to know that by setting the foundation. Let's go to another one quickly. Here's one that their busy season is more like, springtime. So this brand came in February, and their klaviyo revenue was about like 12% in February when they first came in towards the end of February. In March, it was up to 19%. They doubled their revenue literally 30 days later from 112 to 240. By the end of May, they were making $354,000 a month from their email and SMS program. So month after month after month of growth, right? Untapped potential on their email list that they constantly just unlocked. They grew from 12% to 30% of revenue. And best part is they can reduce their ad spend too, right? And they sent fewer emails. So they're saving money while they're making money. Can't go wrong with that. Another example, right? This brand, the whole year, 2021 versus 2020, this brand was making $77,000 a year from their email channel. And I'm screenshotting Google Analytics because it's a little more of a source of truth in this case. But they jumped up, setting their foundation, right? Setting that foundation, $323,000, 318% growth. They went from about 6% of total revenue from their email channel to 22% of revenue from email, which again means that they can rely less on paid ads. They can rely more on their customer list. Really great to see those kind of numbers coming in for brands. And it's super important to remember, this is the potential probably on your list right now. Let's take a major brand, right? Again, a top 1% brand. Look at these numbers right here. 2017 versus 2018. This is a feather in our cap. We love seeing these numbers right here. This brand was at about 47 million in revenue from their email and SMS program. We delivered about 290 million emails that year. Huge amount. The year after, we delivered 250 million emails, 11% fewer, yet we made 54% higher revenue, right? So an inverse relationship. We delivered less, we made more. We delivered fewer emails, but we delivered better emails. And that led to a jump in orders, in revenue, in clicks, and that's what matters. And then it continued into 2019. You see right there. That's where you want to be, right? They went from 47 to 72 million in 12 months with 11% fewer emails, right? Saving money, but making a lot more money at the end. That's where you as a business want to be. And that's from the spam strategy. That's what it comes down to. And that's from setting your foundation. So the potential for your business is right there. That was a long session. I'm really glad you stayed here to the end. Super excited you had here. Thank you for giving another 10, 15 minutes on your calendar. I'd like to invite you to take the next steps, right? If you're serious about email SMS and building a better customer relationship this year and unlocking the true revenue potential of everyone on your list, book a free email and SMS audit from me and my experts, right? We're going to dive into kind of where you are now, where you could be, where the gap is, and how we're going to help you close that gap. That's really important. So the free email SMS audit, if you're on Klaviyo, you can easily grant us analyst access and we'll jump right in. Very easy. If you're on a different platform, ListTrack, SailThrough, Iterable, Ecommerce, you name it, any of them, we have access to it. We can give a clear audit right there. Easy, not a problem. We've done it before. We'll give an audit of your customer journey. What are customers doing when they come in from the site? What is that experience when they first come in versus when they convert, for example? We'll review your coding, design, and personalization. You can see my little trusty good old Google Sheets ROI calculator, which we're hopefully converting into a better website experience, but ROI calculator to predict your potential, right? Based on your open rate, click rate, conversion rate. I'll give campaign feedback and recommendations on your campaigns right now and where you have room for improvement and how to unlock that improvement yourself or with our help. Give you good automation ideas and strategies to tap into right away. We'll review your retargeting experience as well. And all that is about a 45-minute strategy session and deck, which I'll share with you. And it's a free audit valued at about $1,000 right there. 45-minute audit right there. And as I said before, I said earlier in the webinar, starting now, all email and SMS audits get our 2023 Launchpad bundle that helps you get a running start, right? In it is our free book. You get a copy of our digital copy of our book. If you want a hard copy, send me an email at isaac@highflyerdigital.com. Glad to put that in the mail to you. It's a Launchpad bundle. I didn't correct the holiday. It's a full 2023 Launchpad bundle for you. Email cheat sheet, e-commerce growth guide. Remember that growth engine, as I said before, so you can understand it. Free roadmap. It could be, that's kind of this entire webinar on a document, so you can kind of keep track of it. Free campaign calendar for 2023, which we mapped out using email and SMS on that campaign calendar, so you could steal ideas and swipe and deploy it. Our top 10 automations guide right there, which is the ones that are really high performing. Majority of your revenue will come from these top 10, right? And then all that's valued at about $2,000 for free, and you can get it at highflyerdigital.com/2023 Launchpad. But you guys are on the webinar, so you're going to get it for free anyway. So thank you for that. And then that's kind of where we're at, right? I think that's it. I think we covered a lot, right? I think we really dove into the entire plan for your roadmap, where you can zero in on every step. Every month there's a goal. Every month there's a plan. Important thing is set your goals too, right? My roadmap is what works. I guarantee you, I've done it before. I've done it for multiple brands right now. It works, but set your goals too. So I'm here to be a partner with you. Take the next step, book your free email and SMS audit, get an expert looking under the hood of your email SMS program and show you how to unlock the true revenue potential of your customer list. Guarantee you it's worth it. You better do it now before 2023 starts, because why not? Set out, know where you could be, know where your gaps are, and start closing them. Thank you for staying on this webinar. Really appreciate you taking the time out of your day. Happy New Year. Happy holidays to everyone out there. I will see you on the next webinar. Talk soon.